This is a real issue. I think this is a public service now. How do you guys feel about having just free deodorant at the masjid? Just like when you walk in as a public service to the community, there's this free deodorant. You can pick it up. You can use it. There's no compulsion in
I mean,
faith.
not just
Like
the masjid. They should be at like the Desi stores too.
everywhere. No, everywhere there are desis, there should be free
Just like-
deodorant.
Yeah,
Just
I
flip
mean,
them
I
on.
don't know if I know BO is pretty bad. I agree with that. But on top of it, like, you ever go to the
Oh.
wuzu area and then come back to, like, it just like, dude, like, have you never washed your feet? Like, you're here, you're doing wuzu, so you're washing your feet, but like something's going on. Like, maybe you're not washing your socks.
Oh
Like,
my
what's
God,
happening?
it's gross.
No, it's their
Okay,
shoes
so-
that reek.
So
Okay.
your story just brought back a memory for me that I had stored away. One time we were at Universal Studios and we went to the Waterworld show. There was a brown couple there. Their BO was so bad.
So
I kid
bad.
you not. There was nobody within 10 feet of them in the front or to the side. Everyone was moving away. And they're just sitting there blissfully, like unaware.
And I was on a plane the other day, and I was boarding the plane. I was one of the last people to board this plane. From like 10 rows away, I smelled it, and I was like, "Where's the desi?" And then as I got closer, I was like, "There he is."
Of course.
Welcome to NaanSense. I'm your host, Ahmed Mirza. I'm joined by three other tonight, hosts as well, Twiddledee, Twiddledum, and Twiddledummer. And
Whoa, wow, that's so creative. You came up with
so
that
creative.
all by yourself.
Live.
He's just the face of the operation.
I know. The brains.
And, think of NaanSense as a way for dads to open up and talk freely and openly about what it means to be a dad. We laugh, we cry, but all in all, we try to keep it fun. So join us with a cup of chai and come along for the ride.
Jai, when have we cried though? I want to see that happen, but
We actually laugh so hard that we end up crying.
we cried. Okay, that makes more sense.
One of my
Yeah,
favorite
okay.
parts of every intro is watching Sajid react to what Ahmed is saying.
The straight up
He does
nonsense.
have a very unique.
Because
every
I can't take him seriously, and he goes into serious freaking Ira Glass mode with his.
Look at this, like, Ahmad, do you have to see what I have to put up with? Like, this is what I have to put up with every
What do you
day.
mean? We don't live together. What do you mean? What you have to put up with?
All right. So yeah, basically, we have had the Dad Dilemma segment in past episodes. Got a surprise for you guys. This is going to be an entire Dad Dilemma episode. We have user submitted dad dilemmas, right? Things that people want to get advice on or get your take on. And to make it even more fun, I'm the only one who's read these. I've vetted them. I will read the submissions and we'll get your guys' takes. See if you have any wisdom to impart.
Okay, so we went from being like a somewhat prepared podcast to a completely unprepared podcast.
Yeah, and
Great.
and not just that. Like, I feel like these are plans put in by none other than our significant others. So I'm just scared.
So I've vetted through them, and we'll start off slow, and hopefully we can do this in other future episodes as well.
Okay.
All right.
Palate cleanser. Let's go.
All right. Here's one. Please settle this debate between my wife and me. What is an acceptable amount of time to be late if you're invited to a party that says it will go for 6 hours?
Do you say acceptable amount of time to be laid?
Late.
Okay.
Desi Standard Time.
DS got it.
Can you repeat that question? I was distracted.
Dude, do you have the attention span of a goldfish? Like, what?
Kinda
How
do.
are
do
you
you mean?
distracted? You're on a podcast. Like, what else are you doing?
I was not sure where that question was going.
Okay, but Salman, first of all, 6 hour party? What kind of party goes for 6 hours?
Yeah, is this like a wedding?
You want to
sometimes
just text my wife right now and ask her?
So what's
No,
the acceptable amount of time to be late to a party?
Okay, let's say
But I think the 6 hour thing matters, right? Like if it's usually parties go for a couple of hours, if you're an hour late, you're very late. But I think
isn't the first dividing line Desi
So does your
non-Desi?
whoa no, hold on, no, Imad, sorry, gotta cut you off. Does your answer change by the length of party?
You guys
I
never get
don't either,
invited
but
to
it's in the question.
kids' birthdays when it says like
Yeah.
1 to 4. So that's like, it's a 3-hour
Yeah.
party. You show up 2 hours late, the party's done, right?
Yeah.
So I
Party's
think
done.
now
But
if
if
it's a
this
dinner
party's going from
party,
6 p.m. to midnight, showing up at 8 probably is, you're going to get the appetizers. It's no big deal because they see people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
but there's a big difference between the demographic of who's throwing the party then.
Exactly.
I
I
guess
think
like I
30
need to
minutes is
know.
appropriate. 30 minutes accounts for DST, accounts for all the other nonsense.
30 minutes, you're still on time. It's not late.
Oh, yeah, you're still on time. That's what I'm saying. It's appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like 30 to 45 minutes. I think that's appropriate.
I think
Yeah, my
And
wife
like,
is way more punctual than I am. Still, like, even accounting for my tardiness and her punctuality, we usually get to things, I think, on time. I don't, the Desi version of being on time.
no.
But yeah, I think 30 minutes, 6-hour party. Maybe you can push that to hour, I guess.
Yeah, and I
'cause
think it also should depend on how many kids you're taking with you, right? Like if you're taking 0 kids, then you can be there a lot more. But you keep adding for every kid, you should get a 15 minutes. Trying to get like multiple kids out the door to do anything in life, it's too much.
Exactly.
But isn't there a problem like when one person is very punctual and the other person is not?
Yeah.
How do you solve that problem?
That's my household. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, Medea
Hotshot?
loves being very punctual. She's like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh
she's
man, that must
super
create a lot
punctual.
of anxiety for her, right?
And I'm like, I'm like,
Let's
okay.
roll in.
I'm like the world beats to my, rhythm, my drum, whatever.
That's
so
great. Narcissist over here.
yeah, whatever. I mean,
Hero of his
I'm
own
the
story. The story has no buyers.
Yeah. Have you ever missed a flight?
No, I came really
Okay.
close. I think I told you guys this story once. Yeah. So this was early on in my Wall Street banking career. So this was like the first time I was traveling for a pitch meeting with like the management team, and it was like a simple flight, New York to Boston, and got in a cab. I kid you not, I got the worst cab driver. This guy literally is a fob straight off the boat. And this is like his second day in America, in New York. And like, he doesn't know like how to, like, he doesn't know where things are. Like, he's trying to use GPS and whatnot. And he's driving and like, it's like chaotic, unsafe driving. Like, you know how they drive like back in the motherland, like all over the place, no semblance of like lanes or speed. Like,
But usually
like
that
driving,
comes at the benefit of getting there faster, not delayed.
no, but he's like driving slow and just like taking it easy because I think it's like his second day, so he's like slightly scared of driving and stuff like that. And like I get to the gate, he drops me off at the wrong terminal at LaGuardia, and LaGuardia is like really funny. You can't just walk to the other terminals; like you have to like get in another car and then go to the terminal.
Yeah.
So then he drops me off, and then I was so pissed off. I was just drop me off here. It's fine. I get off. I get in another cab, go to the proper terminal, and I get to the gate, and they're like, "Oh, we just closed it. Sorry, like the flight's leaving." And I literally pretend like I started to almost like well up and cry because this was like my first big meeting.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to I literally told the gate agent, I will get fired. Like I literally told her, I was like, I will literally get fired. I will not have a job.
And they opened the gate for you?
So she talked to someone and they took me through some secret gate that I had like my own personal security person quickly do security. They ushered me to the gate. They opened the gate up.
Wow.
And they got me back onto the plane.
I haven't heard of that. Yeah. Wow.
What year are we talking here?
Yeah.
This is 2012.
Wow.
So pretty, definitely post 9/11 and
It's
all
good
that
negotiation
guys
skills.
over here,
I
man.
would say that's
Yeah.
probably true.
It was,
that you would have.
and like I think
Crying?
what was convincing is that I had all the pitch books on me, like because
Yeah.
I was in charge of them, right?
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, this investment bank is gonna make few $1 million less if this doesn't work out. We must help this guy."
I literally said I'm the lowest person on the totem pole. So
Okay, but like a flight is a really good litmus test on how late can you get to your gate, or how late can you get to the airport.
That's
So I
legal.
just
Yep.
got TSA PreCheck on my
Yeah.
last 2 flights, and that's a complete game changer.
Yep.
Because
Well,
Yeah.
all of a
welcome to
sudden,
the club. I don't know, like you just
yeah,
got
I
it,
mean,
like
welcome
I had it
to
for my
like
wife, and the kids get free, right?
2015. Like what
No,
are
no,
we
no.
like? What year are we in?
You didn't want to
yeah,
spend
So
the
here's
$85 on
dude.
someone. Yeah.
What kind of
well,
Muslim
here's
person are
what
you who doesn't
happened.
have TSA pre, dude? Like that's like
So
our
when
way
my
of living at this point. That's the only way we
when
get.
my wife got it, and our daughter was really young, people were like, "Oh, you don't have to get it. They'll let you in." And I think that happened like the first
Yeah,
time because
right.
my daughter was like a baby, and they're like, "All right, sure, you come in." But after that, no luck. So like last time I got
Yeah,
stuck going in the regular line, and my wife was in with the kids right away.
yeah.
So this time I got it. But going back to what you're saying, Imad, having TSA pre really messes with your internal clock of
Calculation.
like how
It
early do I
doesn't mess
gotta
with
get
it.
there.
It makes it easier. You get there later, right? You show up 45 minutes before your flight, and you're gonna
Yeah.
get through, right?
30,
Yeah,
Well,
but
the
30
like
other
minutes
thing,
usually for me.
but you go before the holidays. TSA pre is still it's not
Messy.
5 minutes anymore. It's
it's
like
gonna be longer,
20.
and
But
also
like
like
Yeah.
now everybody has TSA pre, so everybody's in that
everyone
line.
has TSA pre.
Maybe you guys know this, but the other day I was going through the TSA pre-line, whatever, and I forgot to empty out my water bottle. So it went through the scanning machine. And then on the other end of it, they were like, you got to throw away the water bottle or you have to um, go all the way around and redo the entire check-in. And I was like,
Wait. You'd have the same problem.
what?
You would still catch the water bottle again. So why would you go do that?
No, the water bottle was full of water. So they're
I
like,
understand that.
go
No,
out.
you would throw it out. You wouldn't walk back into the same exact thing.
Yeah, that's implied.
Why would you go back into a loop?
Yeah.
I know.
What?
No, you throw out the water as you are exiting, and then you have to
Yeah.
get back in line, TSA pre-line,
Right.
do the thing, go all the way through
Yeah.
everything. And I usually give myself like very little time for these short domestic hops. And but I was looking at the bottle, thinking I'm also Guju, and this bottle is like
Oh yeah.
like I'm
This is a smart
emotionally
water
attached to it.
bottle. You bought the boss or whatever. Or
No,
boss.
dude, it's just whatever. No, this is like my like actual water bottle. Like
Our listeners need to know, what is the value of that water bottle? Are we talking a $30 water bottle that made you do this, or like a $60 water bottle?
I didn't even know
God.
there's a $60 water bottle.
Yeah,
by
I
the
didn't
way,
know there was
so
$60. I doubt it's that
I'm
much.
just guessing because it must be pretty
No,
priceless to make you.
no. It's more of a Guju thing. I'm not gonna throw
Yeah.
away something I own, so
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna let go of
You're
it.
like, I'll miss the flight if I need to miss the flight.
Yeah.
Let's go do this.
It's like when you
I have
cook.
no idea because Kitten bought it, so I don't know how much.
So that just happened with my son's water bottle though, and they're supposed to test it. They have a little strip. They test it, make sure nothing's in
Yeah.
there. I've made that mistake with milk, the baby's bottle. I've made that mistake with like children's medicine. We had this like powdered medicine, and it was in the bag, and they just test it, and then you're good to go.
I think the
But
guy was
TSA
just
pre is
being
a
a jerk.
scam. They're just doing whatever they can. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
the guy
a.
was being a
It's
jerk.
like best effort. It's a best effort situation.
This is all security theater. It's not like
It's all
really
theater.
grounded in any science. It's just to make people feel good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we're doing.
The more you guys talk, I'm wondering why people would want your advice on anything. But let's
No,
go into
I have
number
one
2.
advice. If you are brown and likely to get pulled over at the TSA or at immigration, you have to get TSA pre and you have to get global entry. That global entry is game changer. Like that is the biggest game changer over TSA pre. Like
Yeah,
TSA pre looks
big
like
time.
nothing.
All right, we're gonna keep this moving.
You did a great job of moving it, by the way, Saman. I've been on the one
Now I'm letting
topic
you guys
for 30
warm up.
minutes.
My goal is to let you get out all the bad jokes so I can cut those out.
If you have like 6 or 7 more, I don't know how long we can go here.
I know. Imad has
I got a couple more.
endurance problem to begin with.
Okay, this one I think you all can relate to because I felt it. I can relate to it. Self-explanatory. Annoying uncle keeps pimping me out for jobs for friends and family. So here's the story. This old uncle at the masjid is always flagging me down and wants to introduce me to people he knows, and usually it's recent college grads. and he thinks I can help them. I work for a large firm and I'm not opposed to helping someone out, but this constant voluntolding is so annoying. Also, rarely has he sent me someone worth recommending. How do I make this stop?
Like, literally has happened to me twice in the last few weeks. I feel like I probably wrote that one in.
So
Sounded like you.
what's the
Oh,
move here?
man.
This person wrote, I actually walk past faster when I see him, so he can't stop me.
Oh, poor guy. Poor uncle and poor guy. That sucks. Ahmed, what do you do?
Ahmed
I
probably
got
gets a lot of these, right? I assume you get like 10.
Yeah. So I think I do get a lot of intros. I try to take a call or a chat. I try to be somewhat giving with my time. Especially for younger folks because I know how hard it is to find a job. As it pertains to this uncle, like I'll talk to some of these folks, but after a while, if it's just, not great and it's basically eating up my time, I think I would talk to the uncle and be like, "Hey, look, I appreciate all the effort you're doing and trying to build community and getting us connected. But I can't take any more introductions. I'm out." I think I would try to talk respectfully to the uncle and explain to them like, "Hey, I'm split between too many things." So, I did have to do that too recently with an uncle from the community. So,
Well, I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah. No, I think you're doing the right thing. I think it's worth, like, helping out people in the community. That's, like, one of the things that
Yeah,
we need to be better
that's
about. So
how
for
I
sure
feel
take the
about it.
call.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of this. I feel like every time, like, first meeting these young people is often inspiring because they, on one hand, are very early stages of their career. We were there once, and many of them are gonna, like, 10, 20 years from that time, are gonna probably be in the awesome spots. But there are a lot of duffers in there too. So, like, you just have to, like, be like, hey, you you got to help yourself. I think most people don't understand until you've been in a hiring role long enough to realize that it the job fit is like a very hard thing. It's not a one-way
So
fit
hard.
Yeah, it's
conversation.
not easy.
It's a two-way fit conversation, and that's not an easy thing to do.
yeah.
Um,
But I don't think the question comes from, are you guys taking, outreaches? I think, yeah, like, any reasonable person would do that. I think the question is, like, this uncle is, like,
yeah,
attacking this person every
totally,
Jummah
totally.
and is telling them to, make introductions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That gets annoying, you know?
yeah. And then
It's
how
Real
does this
fast.
uncle know that many young people? Like, that's another, like, every uncle should only have X number of young people they come into contact with, right? Like,
Well, it's
something's
tough
off about
because
that.
like I think Sajid said he feels bad for the uncle, and it's like those uncles, those older sweet uncles, and they kind of don't get all the social cues, and you're like, hey, I'm in a rush, I can't stay and talk right now. They just want to tell you this long story, or they're like,
Yeah.
hey, you should meet so and so because he just does this and and it's like, oh, that's not really my thing, but you don't want to cut them off either. So,
Yeah,
but
totally. Uncles and
oh,
their rants and, like, engaging with them, very hard, difficult decision and how to, like, disengage.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do though is like start cutting people off respectfully, but like
Yeah,
make
New York
them
से आ गया हमारा
What the
दोस्त.
fuck?
aware.
He's like, dude,
Dude, time
what?
is money. Time is money. Time is
This
money.
guy,
I think that's a good. I appreciate the honesty from him with like just tell him, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do this, I can't handle it, I don't have the time for it, whatever that is. Um, I actually had this happen to me recently, and I think Emma had something similar too, where you do actually speak to someone that someone's connecting you with, but when you tell them straight up, like, hey, look, like this is what I do, this is what you're looking at, I can't really do anything, and then you're like, I felt this. I was on a call with somebody, and they made it seem like I was wasting their time. I'm like, I took the meeting with you. You want to talk to me? I'm telling you the
Holy
reality,
shit.
and
oh man,
it's such a
nothing
weird
bothers
experience.
me more than that, where, like, they set it up as a double opt-in intro with this young kid who's really needs the help, and then they don't have their own stuff figured out, have no level of confidence, no communication skills, and you're like, dude, this is the worst. At that point, I just, like, yell at the kid. pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had to yell at a kid too recently. And yeah, I'm with you. I don't offer people 30-minute meetings anymore. I offer them 10 minutes. That's all I have. So sell me
Yeah.
in 10 minutes and then
I think we need to pay it forward.
but
Where
do we need to pay it forward? Why do we have to, why is that responsibility on us? And
because
I'm
somebody
not
did
trying
that
to
for
be
you.
difficult.
Because somebody did
Who
it
did
for
that
you.
for me? Who did that for me?
Dude, this guy, New York.
Holy shit, he
No,
coming in
but
hot.
I'm like, I'm legitimately curious, right? Like you
Yeah.
all, we didn't have access to like,
No, that
all the
guy at
tools
LaGuardia.
and
Yeah, right.
networking and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
No,
right?
you had to build it, and you obviously got it from people outside your
So,
community.
okay, so I was resourceful and I was
Yeah.
crafty and I had a clear purpose in mind.
Yeah.
So like that's one thing that I do get annoyed by though in our community is everyone does tend to look out for not like a handout, but just like an easy leg up into like, oh, this person works here, you should
Yeah.
talk to them. And it's like, that's not my responsibility,
No,
right?
no,
Like
it's not your
you need
responsibility,
to
and they're
figure
not
out your
entitled to it.
shit and then
Exactly.
you come to
Totally,
me.
totally. I think what I'm talking about is compounding, where they're already doing the hard work that we already did in the past, but then on top of it, they have the advantage of having our experience and network help them out.
All right, let's make this the last one for let me see. Let me pull up the email. That's nonsenseshow@gmail.com.
Ooh, nice
All
plug,
right,
Salman, the
here
producer.
we
Ooh,
go.
look at
Here we
that.
go. We're about to have our first kid in a few months, and I'm in a dilemma. I've always thought I would want my kids to call me Papa, not Abu or something old school. My father-in-law has now also said that he wants to be called Papa, even though his kids call him Dad and Daddy. What do I do? That's tough.
That's tough. That's a tough one. All you,
Well, first of all,
Sajid, Imam.
congratulations, listener. That's awesome.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
really great news.
Congrats. Join the club.
But number two, you got to lay the law. This is your kid. Papa, you be Papa. You tell the father-in-law. It's your territory, dude.
Maybe the dad could
did
be
I
like
understand this right? The
Papito.
father-in-law prefers Abu?
No, the father-in-law wants to be called the same thing that this guy wants to be called by his kid.
Oh, yeah. Super.
Did you guys
interesting.
actually? So I got a question. I don't think I thought about it. It just kind of happened. Like whenever my kid, like my daughter calls me daddy. Like that just I don't know where that started from. Like, did you
Yeah.
guys
Interesting.
implement what you wanted to be called, or it just happened?
Implement. Very intentional.
What was it?
I wanted to be called
What do your
Abba.
kids call you?
Abba.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen organically. But no, I strongly feel if you want to be called something, like you get dibs, it's your child.
Yeah.
Throw down with father-in-law. Bring on it. bring on the drama, Phil.
Yeah, I think you got to make space for yourself. I think you got to lay down the law. I can't
I
believe
think
I'm
it's such an
agreeing
interesting
with,
conversation because like this like you're really far removed from that problem. The number of problems you're about to like encounter, like that will be like so far down the list at that point that you're gonna be like, okay, like let's figure that out when we get to that. Because like kids don't start saying any words until like 8 months or like a year old at least. So
But you're still calling each other that, right? Like what Sajid's saying, right? You would like your wife would be talking to the baby and saying, "Oh, here's Abba, or here's Dad, or here's Daddy."
yeah. I mean you can own that, but like I think in the number of I think dads and I think moms, but dads more so highly underestimate the amount of craziness they're about to like go in. Like the storm is so real, and I think that these issues feel big before the baby arrives because there's nothing to do. You're just kind of waiting around. So you're like, oh, let's have this discussion.
No morning sickness, nothing. You're just
Yeah,
a dud.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's that,
waiting.
but like as a dad, you're just like waiting. So you're like, oh, let's have a discussion about what we'll call the baby. Let's have a discussion about what like all that goes
Yeah.
out the window the moment baby arrives because, and I think even the moment that the baby arrives and your parents become grandparents for the first time, that's a very transformational moment for
Mhm.
even the grandparents.
Yeah,
And you very quickly realize that they're willing to completely change because of that moment,
yeah.
you
But
know?
I'm with listener. If it's one of these hard-headed, like, father-in-law types, they are also, head is stuck in the
Headstrong,
sand.
right?
So,
But it's
yeah,
interesting. If you think they are headstrong, like would they rather have a beef with the kids or not really make this an issue to make sure that they get to hang out with their
No,
grandkids?
I
Like,
think I think I think this is where the husband has to use his wife and go through his wife and be like, "Look, you got to dictate like what the kid is calling us as a family unit and what the kid is going to call your parents." I
yeah,
think that's the way you go about it.
I
Is
don't disagree with that. I honestly don't disagree with what you guys are saying. I just think that this is a issue that you could like punt down the road much longer than
yeah,
you think you have to like, you know. Like right now, like
yeah.
the bigger issue is like, hey, who's gonna come spend
Like, okay,
uh
but like you say that, but like what happens if the father-in-law like comes to visit like
yeah,
at the hospital
yeah.
and he just yells out. He's like, "Hey, Papa's here." What are you gonna do then? Like
I actually love what Imad is saying because you're very correct. Like I'm just thinking about like, to all the stuff we talked about before the baby was actually here, and being like,
yeah,
"Oh yeah, remember we were gonna do this, and we thought we'd buy that thing, and then you just totally forget about it because all the real
yeah.
life stuff, you know."
Hits you.
Um, but I hear what Emma is saying too, and so I had a question for you guys. What do your kids call your parents?
They call them
Mine is
dada
very
dadi.
simple. Dada dadi or
Yeah.
nana
yeah,
nani. Those are like the
But
Dada
that's
John.
because you told them to say that, right?
Well, on the mom's side, so they don't say nana nani, they say baba nani jan. And baba was something that um, their nana wanted. So we didn't
hmm.
have any territory issue because I didn't care for
It's,
baba.
it's interesting,
But
right? Because nana nani and dada dadi for us, like it wasn't just us teaching the kids. I'm sure we were overwhelming, but everybody around us would say the
yeah,
Mhm.
same.
So I
Um,
was just thinking because my mom stated she wanted to be called Dado, which is like a play on
uh,
Dadi, right? She wanted to be called Dado. But
yeah.
what's funny now is my son calls her Ummi because he hears me call her Ummi.
Yeah.
And, and so now Dado's kind of got away. She just goes by Ummi and she
Yeah.
calls herself Ummi to him. So I
what
was going to
did
say to this,
what do your kids call your wife?
Mama. Yeah, so it's different.
It's
There's like a distinction
totally
there.
different. Yeah,
Okay, I
Yeah.
got a
But what I
question
was
for you
going to,
guys. Hey,
no, I was just going to say, if you, yeah, maybe you can teach your kid just to call the father-in-law whatever you call him,
yeah,
and
that's
your kid
true.
will pick up on that.
Hey, dude.
The most
All right, what
passive
was your question?
aggressive way to tackle this. Yeah, I like it.
I mean, passive aggression is rife in our community, right? Like we're just keeping it going.
That's part of the culture. Yeah,
It's
I'm
part of the
noticing
culture.
something really strange with my 5-year-old. She calls me Baba at home, but if I catch her at school, she's gonna call me Dad or Daddy. Strange.
Okay.
Ooh.
So she's
She's
just
got
being very conscious. Yeah,
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 yeah.
it's weird.
she's
So
got high emotional intelligence, it sounds like.
I don't know.
I can relate to this about
Yeah,
because I remember growing up, right? And like you have that distinction of like, oh, I'm not like every other kid, right? Or like I
Yeah,
remember being like my mom would come and shawarma me, and as a kid being like embarrassed by that,
totally,
right? Or like every other kid called their dad dad, and so I'm not
totally.
trying to tell them what I call my dad. So there's like a distinction of when I said it to my school friends.
Yeah,
yeah.
for
Um,
sure.
but it's crazy how like kids pick up
Pick
on
it up.
that.
They pick it up. Then they're very perceptive at a very early age. Surprisingly, you know.
Well, if
It's fair.
it helps anyone, my son right now is going through a phase, I guess, with his friends and stuff. So he's calling me big bro.
He's
Just
calling you what?
big bro. He like he like comes home and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, big bro?" And I'm like, "Okay." Like,
Well, I get my kids to do something, and it's really awkward for them, but it's just I enjoy it more than they enjoy it, which is anytime we're doing pretend play, um, I'll just be like, "Hey, you can't call me Baba during pretend play. Just use my actual name.
Further proof that you don't even listen to the episodes after they come out. I think this
No,
is like
they,
literally last week.
literally
Just
from.
heard this whole story.
I was gonna say,
I cannot listen to
Imad,
my own voice, guys. So I'm sorry. Like, very hard for me to listen.
Dude, if you can't listen to it, what do you think we have to deal with when we're editing the episode?
I'm sorry.
you mean when I'm editing the episode?
Oh no,
How
when
cringe.
I have to listen and I give timestamps of like, oh yeah, hey, Imad's voice is kind of squeaky here.
I was gonna say, I think every recording, Imad refers back to something he's already said.
I know. I'm like, I've turned into that uncle like big time.
Please don't
You
run out of
literally
stories,
talked
man.
about
We're
that
only
uncle
like,
in like the first episode. You talked about the uncles that keep telling the same stories over and
Yeah.
over
I
again.
know.
Thank you.
hey, Imad, before we sign off, can you remind us of what happened in Bali?
Can play the old episode. I remember that one.
That one he is seeing residual impact from.
Awesome. Well, this was an interesting episode. Hopefully, we can impart some advice to you, dads or moms or whoever's reaching out to us, because I think we have something of value to add to your dilemmas. So, our email is nonsenseshow@gmail.com. Reach out. We'll maybe provide some nonsense. As always, you can find us on Instagram @NaanSense as well as YouTube. That's all I got. See you later.
Bravo.
Thanks, boys.
Hey guys,
So much value coming out of your ass right now.
I'm just glad our cameras kept working.